tapi standard 6 itu dia makin membesar. Imagine if these children were solving real issues since standard 1, imagine what would be natural for them to solve at their PhD level. Imagine the student becoming an engineer or a doctor or a scientist or even an artist, but he or she will be a multi-dimensional, a balanced one with a love for nature, for humanity, for technology, and with values internalized. Imagine what the world would be like then. And now imagine that if you are the student from that kind of a learning environment, equipped with knowledge, equipped with skills and values to make you a better human being, imagine what a difference you can make to this world. Okay, let's talk about reality. Okay. So that was Imagine. And schools today, with the advent of the Industrial Revolution, the needs of basic literacy and numeracy skills is needed in order for the people to work in the factories. And this concept of schools came into being, and students are assigned to teachers and they progress through a production line model of education. To the point, even bell ringing concept was borrowed from the factory in order to signal break times. And the concept was then brought from the schools to even to the university, because we efficiently mass produce graduates with a one-size-fits-all for everyone. Same yardstick, sama ada you nak jadi scientist ke, engineer ke, artist ke. And the knowledge learned at bachelor's level can be shallow and broad with a standard sets of subjects. We have already said, science field must do this, arts field must do this, social science must do this, right? It's all must do this. All this is done so that it's suitable to work in a factory. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is no longer relevant for the 21st century, because today is the era of convergence, where you need to now have science and arts together, right? The merger between information technology and biotech revolution has created, of course, the biggest tsunami in our lives. The future now is about negotiating VUCA, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, to the point that the Vice President of Boeing had said that today's educators are preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies not yet invented to solve problems not yet identified. So in such a case, there's a lot that the students have to be taught to learn, to unlearn, to relearn, to co-learn, and then co-create in a collaborative manner. And moving from jobs to roles, and moving from job seekers to job creators. We don't have to worry, as Dr. Hamisa was saying, oh, IPTA now is having 80% job employability. But we're talking not about employment, we're talking about employability. If everybody are job creators, we don't have to worry about job employability. The future, ladies and gentlemen, is about training the student about how to learn and how to be a lifelong learner. Of course, the requirements of the 21st century skills should be providing a better learning experience with learning innovation skills, with digital literacy skills, with career and life skills. Essentially, what can we teach the student when tomorrow whatever knowledge we're teaching now is going to be obsolete? Students need to be flexible, need to be adaptable, agile to respond to change, and the student must learn that he or she need to become lifelong learners. And tomorrow is also about collaboration and sharing of information, and such character building is very important, that there must be trust and trustworthiness in order for collaboration to happen. So what are the impacts of this disruptive change to higher education? One, the question the value of the degree. With the advent of globalization and global economic crisis, employers now want industry-ready graduates. So today, industries hire graduates with competency and skills rather than graduates with a degree, even from an elite university. And we've seen this in the United States. Even if you graduate from Harvard, compared to someone who has competency and skill, the employer would now take the one with the competency and skill. The trend now also is to accept non-degree credentials and provide certificates that show their learning ability. This is another ballgame altogether, credentials. And we need to talk about digital credentialing, all right? And how do we measure this? This is going to go beyond even MQA at this point in time, because MIT and Harvard is now coming together, setting up new references for what credentialing is all about, so that now everybody around the world can recognize with this new set of credential references. And with the advent of the gig economy, employers can obtain a cheaper but more effective workforce to perform the tasks required based on their competency and skill. So now competency and skill matters more. And the degree, as we know it, is slowly but surely beginning to lose its value. So whether we like it or not, higher education needs to undergo change. Because the students are changing. As Datuk Hamisa is saying, we are now having the new millennials among us. The students nowadays are always connected, easier and faster to get information via internet than reading a book. And I was having this mapping talk, and mapping is now saying that the number of book sales is reducing. What do you expect? Right? The students, as Hamisa said, is always with the handphone. There is no need for them to have a book. Right? So knowledge to them needs to be there, ready and available upon demand. The students are also cleverer now. They want value for money, because whatever you're teaching, your subject matter that they're learning needs to be practical and adaptable to the changing world, because 65% of jobs tomorrow are not here today. And also the new students need a new learning paradigm and a new learning experience and learning space. You see this? We are always having the student, we call flexible education happening in university, or we give the lecture under blended flipped classroom in a classroom, like right now I'm talking to you. We're back to square one. Right? We don't even move in this kind of collaborative table rearrangement. We're always in this classroom setup. So we talk about flexible, but our mind is not changing like a flexible education requirement. Yeah? So there are many more potential students already working and need to have accessibility to learn, upgrade their knowledge and skills with or without the degree. Okay. So basically now is the rise. With the advent of the global economic crisis, many people now need to not go to the university, but now need to get out after SPM to now find work. So now we see a rise of the non-traditional students. These are students in the workforce, they now want to learn. So they are members of the workforce, either government or industry, and even if they are working, they still want to now increase their ability. If they have a bachelor's degree working as a PTD, why not they now have a master's or a PhD as well? So lifelong learning is important. They have varying levels of education and experience, so this is now multiple entry, multiple exit. Now you have to start thinking about this. They cannot afford 4 years to complete university degree. They need to work part-time or full-time. They have to juggle family and other responsibilities, so they want to learn, therefore, at their own time, at their own pace, and it has to be personalized to their needs. The degrees to them should be about how much the students learn than how many hours they spend in the classroom. And they are not interested, sorry, wrong spelling here, they are not interested about attending a convocation. To them, convocation does not matter. So for these students, competency-based education becomes now very attractive compared to the traditional one, and in US, non-traditional students now stands at 75%. And if universities are now moving in an entrepreneurial mindset, this is now the new marketplace for higher education. And whether you like it or not, competition is increasing. Globalization has increased competition among universities. New and emerging or changes now seen, moving from 30% teaching to about to 30-70. Still, studies have shown the best is not total online, but blended still is there. And that's why the blueprint also advocate for 70-30. So it makes university more attractive and competitive, and suddenly the students that you now have are worldwide and not only from the country of origin. So whether to survive, maybe we need to basically enhance accessibility, reduce costs, and move to flexible education. We can't stop this. because knowledge is ubiquitous. With the digital age, knowledge is no longer confined to the classroom and the lecture halls. It's available faster upon demand, available at the fingertips, and MOOCs have basically enhanced accessibility to higher education. We started off with Coursera, that is profit making, and then MIT and Harvard came in with edX and made all courses taught by the Harvard professors and the MIT professors for free. If that is the case, that's a new business model, because they now say free, but when you want a degree or certification, you have to pay. So students now Google instead of going to libraries, as you know, and they can get access to lectures taught by the best in the world, so why would they want to come to USM or UPM or UM? And women who are not, but one thing advantage, women who are not allowed to go to the universities can now learn via the internet. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now see a new era with the digital coming in. Online, MOOCs, blended education for free seems now to be the answer to making education accessible and available to the poor. And therefore, whether we like it or not, flexible education is the way forward to provide the students with choices about how, about when, about where, and they should now learn. Okay, before we go through the nitty-gritties of flexible education and how to actually make it happen, it's easier and nice to say about all these things. Have you actually taken a look at what is the big picture of learning? Do you know how much of all this is now available? Because learning can be formal, can be informal, can be non-formal by higher education, and also alternate providers now are coming in to provide now learning. So we can have open and distance learning, accelerated, decelerated learning, open learning itself, student-centered learning, mobile learning via the handphone, self-directed learning, customized company training, what we now call executive diplomas that we are now doing, alright, but it's not accredited by MPA, but you can now do because it's customized to the needs of the company, and the company can now use that to now advance the knowledge of their own workers. And then we have the recognition of prior learning or training as what is APEL. So before I know it's APEL A, APEL C, now ada APEL Q and APEL T8. So there are so many APELs now. So we need to catch up with the APEL here. There's blended learning, modular, short courses, academic skill learning, work-based learning, e-learning, right, with MOOCs and all that, full-time, part-time learning. So many kinds of learning is there, which is inclusive of learners, the education providers, the regulators, the accreditors, the industry players, and the users of these certifications and qualifications. Semua ni, I borrowed this from Zita from MPA before. So, that is the learning big picture. But this is why JPT and MQA have to work together. Because this is the policy that needs to be unlocked in order to allow flexible education to now happen. First, we talk about access, right? Open entry, we need flexible pathways, we need multiple entry, multiple exit, if we want to have this thing happen. When we talk about recognition of prior learning, is it advanced standing, vertical, horizontal credit transfer, or is it now by APEL? When we talk about content or curriculum, is it going to be open educational resources where everything is free? Or is it going to be modular way? Is it stackable? Is it going to be hybrid, multidisciplinary? Or is it going to be blended learning? And we talk about delivery. You can even have something standard, but you can now change the delivery mode. So we can do e-learning, we can do stackable ways, we can do by MOOCs. Or we have teaching and learning methods, apprenticeship, to you to I, work-based learning, open and distance learning. Assessment, how are we going to do this? Is it by the normal way, micro-credential, e-proctoring, or mobile learning? And awards, what kind of awards are we now giving? Digital badges, is that recognized? Blockchain, dual, double, joint degrees, or now the new in thing, credentials? What are we going to do? So basically, despite we see this big picture, right? Malaysia, I have to say, is ahead in terms of APEL. Kalau compare dengan negara-negara lain di Asia maybe, with the exception of the United States, we are pretty good in APEL. I think Prof. Ramah as the leadership has now moved us ahead of the game. And we are the first country, we are the first country in the world to actually create a 20 IPTA together to form MOOCs, right? We are the first to do that. And we're also the first in the world to actually recognize MOOC for credit transfer. So I remember a lot of universities around the world were asking,